Hi everyone, I'm Gary Tucker and this is the Fenway, standing near the Muddy River, one of my favorite subjects. We're going to look around today, find some interesting shadow play among the trees, the fallen trees, the snow, and everything that is so interesting at this time of year. Action. Well, let's draw. For the moment, let's draw our subject. However much you feel you want to include in the drawing. Some parts that I like are this bounding branch. The way the snow rises and falls off of this branch. Okay, the river runs behind it at a slight slope. Trees in the background. Let's make the light a little more gradual back here. I'm generally falling this way across our subject. So these are just guides. I'm not sure if I want to put a tree on this shore or not. You could make it interesting, just not sure. This just a little higher. Maybe about here. I'm always a little cautious about putting strong darks or strong accents near the edges of the paper. I like to keep that a little bit vague. the edges of the paper. Okay, I'm back. Now I can erase. Get an idea for what it's going to look like before. Yeah. That's a little better. So let's make these lines a little darker so you can see them. They might get distorted a little with the brushwork. I always yield to the brush. Hope this isn't too big. I don't want to state those trees, really. Maybe we'll break these down. It's a little aggressive through there. Okay. So that's my tree carcass. My far shore, you can see the basic shapes. Angled light. Getting a little flatter as it moves back, angled, a little steeper coming down here. A little bit of undulation in the snow. So for my palette, I have some burnt sienna, some yellow ochre, some ultramarine blue, some cobalt blue, maybe a little lavender, we'll see. But I'm going to start with the burnt sienna to start and get a feel for my tree here. And this isn't the strongest dark, this is the mid-tone. I just want to get a feel for that tree and the edge of the snow. So the gesture is important. Gesture is kind of captured in the drawing. There we go. Notice the edges that kind of indicate the snow is riding up the side of our fallen branch. We have some snow riding down to meet the snow on the ground. This branch riding up here. Smaller branches coming off there. Feels like it's surrounded by snow already, doesn't it? It has that feeling to it. So I've definitely embellished on the gestural quality of the image. I hope you can see that. Now, I want to start to build in the shadows. Having my branch in place is good because I can see where I want to let the snow ride over, for example. Let the snow ride over. I might remove part of that at some point. In any case, I can see where I want to bring the shadows, make the shadows come to bear. So I can start to go into the shadows. I can start to create that big wash behind that comes up, and we'll stop it right at the edge of the water here. And then we'll continue down across our subject. So I need a big brush to do that. And I have to build up a good amount of liquid here. We're going to take a lot of the ultramarine blue, a little bit of the Payne's gray. I don't want it to be super bright. By bright I mean pure blue. I want it to be a grayish blue and rather dark. Something like that. Maybe we'll add a little cobalt to it. Something about like that. And we'll start to build in the shapes behind, all the way down to the water. Remember, we're going to leave a few whites that indicate these diagonal lights through here. We'll start up here. And that's the one. We'll have to make a little stick there, won't we? Alright, I'm just going to use the tip of this brush all the way down to my water's edge. Up here there's not that sort of light. some more back here. So let's give this a little better shape. Right, and I'm just going to spray it a little back here. Keep it just a little bit lighter back there. While this is wet, I think I'm going to add scents to the water. So I'm going to bring in a little more of that blue, a little more of that Payne's gray, smaller brush, and just start to create the edge of the water here. Do the same back here. I'm going to add just a little burnt sienna to this edge. Here and there while it's wet, we can get some feeling of reflections. Stones perhaps, or exposed earth. Okay. Very good. Let's think about the shadows that move across our subject here. They're going to be coming across the plane of the bank of the water here. They're going to round over our fallen tree. And they're going to flatten out, undulate perhaps a little bit through this plane. So we want to create a little bit of some softness to make it undulate through there a little bit, and perhaps in the back as well. The shadows themselves are going to be about this color, perhaps a little brighter blue. Oh well, let's see what happens. We'll mix up the blue first. I'm adding a little cobalt to this, which is a brighter blue than the ultramarine. water blue. Still quite dark. And I'm going to start with very light application. Almost nothing really. This a little warmer color where I want some softness. So let's say let's just do this lower corner. We can kind of manage this first. Say we want a little softness through here. So I'm just adding this tinted water. What does that represent? Perhaps a little bit of a up and down, a hill or something, a mound. Then we shift to a smaller brush. We get a good amount of this color in here. And we start to carry some shadows across here. Remember, they're kind of falling at an angle. Right up to the bottom of the tree. I'm having it rather dark in this corner. Something like that. Say something similar behind. I'll leave a little bit of brightness on that bank. Like that. Let's do this section here. This section, let's do it dry, and then we'll add some water after the fact. Okay, so we pick up some of this color. And we start here, we work. Okay. So we have some focus there. Let's let that dry before we manipulate it. Back a little bit. Let's go now. We need to rework some of these darks. Very curious to see. So I'm picking up some of my Payne's gray here, a little bit of, burnt sienna here, Payne's gray, and I'm going to come to this dark. Still a little wet there. Let's come against this dark. See how that's going to activate our tree again. Tree has gotten temporarily sort of eaten up by the snow. Yeah, that'll work. That's going to work. Suddenly the light got very bright. Let's remind ourselves where our center of interest is right through here, so we kind of relegate put that in a blue shadow perhaps. Trees are wonderful because we can, shape them as we see fit. Putting some skinny little branches there to see how they look. All right. I want to test this section here. It's pretty dry. This corner's a little too active, so I'm going to take just a big soft brush. I'm going to soften out these shadows a little bit. So now it's a matter of sort of adjusting. And we do need to adjust these back here. I'm going to take just a faint amount of yellow ochre. Yellow ochre. Very weak. Almost just water. Just the shadows back here. Push them back in the painting. Also softens those rough edges just a little bit. I think that's just enough. Makes the whites that we've left come alive, doesn't it? Okay. This is a little too busy for my liking. I'm going to put some stuff into that, some branches, some edges. And it's still a little wet. I'll wait on that. It's an interesting mark here. What can we do with that? I guess we could make some grass. I'm going to put some blue shadow over this. Soften. These lines are a little unnecessary. Just going to soften some of that out. Okay. So far, so good. Let's add some branches. We'll use burnt sienna. A little more water. I want it to be dark, but it's got to come off the brush. This one kind of blossomed. So when doing these branches, less is more, and try to think of you know, odd numbers is good. We don't want to crowd it. Especially through here, we're going to leave that sort of untouched. Put a little earth through here. Footprints. Now we need some trees in the back, right? Maybe a little better edge to our distant water. Put some trees back there. Warmer hue, not too dark. Let's try one back here. Remember, this is the background, so we don't have to be explaining too much. But I feel that the bottom of the tree, the way it meets the snow, will help show the slope and will help to show the way the tree is growing. I'm going to bring one more in here. Three, good. Just remember that TV series, Three's Company. You'll be all right. Let's go over here. Little sapling, casting a shadow there, referring to the light. I don't want to interfere too much with what I'm doing through here, so I'll put another tree growing here. That feels about enough, doesn't it? Careful with the base of the tree. Strong shadows here. I just love how the light starts to grow and grow with the addition of these defining darks. Really is something like magic. Well, in this exercise, I hope you're starting to appreciate how we can really use our imagination and memory much more than we give ourselves credit for. It just takes a little push and a little belief. And after doing that, you return to nature and you see more that you can use in your next painting. All right, looking good, looking good. This back line is just a little abrupt, isn't it? Let's try little shadow there. just a little dampness across here. Wish I had a little more snow coming down here. How about that? There it is. So now we can make the scene more complex. I mean, we can do it gradually and sort of methodically, measuring. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this bright white. To see if I want to regain any white edges. Oh, that's not white. That's jaune brilliant, which is a yellowish white. This is the white here. I think I will turn something into a shadow. Just need a little bit of that bright blue. Close enough. What was I doing? Yes, a little bit of this white. Feels like light is kind of plunging down the side here. Sparingly, sparingly. Trying to see if there's anything I left out. Well, there is a lot we left out. But I think for this painting we have enough. So let's call it quits.